So what has been the most discouraging thing that's happened to you?
The most discouraging thing that has happened to me, I don't know if it directly relates to me, but it's what I've seen. It's whenever I see any negativity in the community or anything directed towards the game. The game and community mean more to me than anything. It's the people in the community that have created me to be able to do this. So I always feel that, they've not only created me, but they could, take it all away from me. Just like my mother always used to say, I made you and I brought you into this world that I could take you out, So when I see any negativity happening in such a beautiful community where everybody's so friendly, that is where it starts to hurt a little bit. Because I know no community, nobody's perfect. We all fight, whether in any relationships, to parents, everything, and it's healthy at times, but sometimes it just gets to me because something's so positive, you never want to even see it tarnished just a little bit, and I'm always nervous about anything happening. So that would probably be some of the most discouraging things that I've seen, anything discouraging.
What are some struggles you have faced through this journey of reaching the point that you've attained?
The biggest struggles would be making everyone happy. That would probably be one of the biggest struggles. When I had that little audience before this really, blew up, I had 20 to 30 people that constantly watched my videos, and I knew what they liked or didn't like. As you start to get a bigger audience, there's a lot more opinions on things. So what half like, half might not like so much, depending, on the videos or the route that they're going. The thing is, one of my favorite quotes is, anyone who hasn't made a mistake hasn't tried anything new. So when I'm trying new things, I know that some aren't gonna like it, but I know some are, and I take all the feedback I get, and if I could make 80 to 90% happy, I think that's the majority, and I think that's successful, because it's impossible to appease everybody. So I just want to appease the majority.
Do you receive hate? Is the support bigger than the hate? I know personally, this question is going to be obvious,
Yeah.
but for people that are looking at this, that might say, well, does he receive hate for doing this and everything? What would be your response to that?
Do I ever receive hate on anything I do? It's very rare, actually, very rare. And I've been on YouTube watching videos all the way, almost 9 years now. I see a lot of hate everywhere to some content creators. This community is very different. It's very rare that I do receive hate, but when I do, it's kind of, I've gotten to the point where it doesn't faze me at all. The only time that things have really ever fazed me from hate-wise is when people have talked bad about the community as a whole, or directly at the community, because I feel that I'm more of its protector. So you could say whatever you want. You could say whatever you want about me, or hate me or call me different things. That's one thing, but when you kind of direct things towards this community that we've all kind of created, that's when it hits me a little bit harder than most. But for the most part, 99% of the time, it's beautiful. It's loving. Everybody's very happy. You get that 1% of hate, but that's almost with anything. So.
Do you ever have problems with technology, tripods, computer, soundboard, all that?
I have technology problems sometimes dealing with, like computer or some of the streaming aspects. Not so much though. I've kind of got it down to a science where everything is kind of formulated and I'm so used to it. So before I stream or do anything, I make sure I do the right checks beforehand. But you'll get once in a while during a stream, something will go wrong, and we have a joke, if I do something wrong, everybody will call me a pro streamer, So, and it's funny because it makes the, mistake or the accident that happens, and it makes it kind of funny for us all. It puts at ease on me, like everybody knows I made a mistake, but everybody's laughing about it. We're all laughing about it together, and I just do my best to kind of correct it as fast as possible. But I kind of got it down to a science where you don't have that, mistake too often.
What's been the best moment of all time in your YouTube/streaming career? What can you think of one specific moment that is so up there that it's just you can instantly be like, this is the greatest moment, and if this didn't happen, like, I don't know where my mindset would be.
Greatest moment would be the $35,000 raised for breast cancer awareness, 100,000%. I went in there thinking we'd raise $5,000, and that's nothing to sneeze at. That's amazing. I didn't have that mentality. It wasn't about the goal of money we were going to raise for breast cancer awareness. It was all about us being together, us doing something for a great cause, and the community being looked upon by everybody as like wow, this is a community that really wants to help. and I got to be the host of it. I got to, be the driver in the driver's seat with everybody there helping me along, because I could drive, sure, but we need people to fill up the gas. We need people to fix the tires in case something goes down. That's the whole community. That's all of us. We raised $35,000 in 24 hours. There's places, there's charity events that set up 3 days, and they have catering and all this, set up to try to raise as much money as possible. We did it from me streaming in my little cubicle room in front of everybody playing video games for 24 hours. We got to bring $35,000 to a foundation that is going to help breast cancer awareness, and hopefully us as a community, it's going to save some lives.
What's something you don't want people to get the impression of when they see your content?
What I don't want people to get the impression of while seeing my content is that I am like the typical YouTuber. A lot of people that aren't familiar with YouTube, they think it's a place where, people are falling off a skateboard, or it's just funny little video clips. I don't want them to get that impression when they watch the videos. The videos, they're intended to show the great friendships that are made in a beautiful game that's new, such as virtual reality, and a bunch of strangers kind of getting along and creating a bond, and then portraying that. So it's almost like a show, things like Family Matters or any of those type of, Full House, those type of shows that's friendly, that's enjoyable, and that's fun. And it's showing real people, real strangers, all coming together in an environment that's virtual, and kind of building a strong bond with each other and portraying that into a type of show. That's what the videos are about. I don't want them to think, oh, it's virtual reality, it's where's the guy on the skateboard falling off, that I hear about YouTube and these funny clips. That's not what it's about. It's about positivity and enjoyment and family-friendly fun.
Tell me how you were feeling when your channel exploded in December. Because correct me if I'm wrong, and again, you can explain this in the response. Your channel was the #1 fastest growing channel on all of YouTube under 50,000 subs in December.
Under 100,000 subs.
100,000,
yes,
yeah.
Correct.
So, so with that in mind, how were you feeling when you exploded in December?
With the explosion of all the people and everybody coming to my channel, it was exciting, but at the same time I was very nervous. It was at that point where I was thinking to myself, all right, there's viral videos that happen, and you could see their sub count, it doesn't really go up. A video will explode, but a lot of people don't capitalize on that. And I saw what was happening, and with my marketing background, I thought to myself, I have a few routes to go. I could either go back to, my marketing, job, which I loved. I loved, being in the marketing world. I love that corporate lifestyle, but I said I have, something different here that I could possibly capitalize on. And with some thinking, I had to say, do I have enough savings to go through this? I don't plan to make money for X amount of time. This is going to take, time to build, etc. And I was thinking about going for my master's. I was thinking about, all these things, at least have a school background to fall back on, advanced education. And I said, I'm gonna do it. And one of those big things with the people that were writing things in the comments, some of the nicest things I've ever heard, and I couldn't really turn my back on them. So as exciting as it was very scary, because I was kind of going a different path I've never went in my life before, a completely different route, and I decided to take the jump on it.
This is going to be the question that I know that you definitely, it strikes a chord. How hard was it to make content when you were constantly being demonetized? What was it like to go through that?
When I was constantly being demonetized, it was hard originally to make content, especially it was when I started and said, I'm gonna do this full time. And then, boom, I was being hit with demonetization. It hurt, it was difficult, but I said to myself, you know what? I'm making videos just like when I was smaller to entertain people. If I'm gonna be demonetized, even though I was doing nothing wrong, no cursing in the videos, there was no explicit content, it was just, I was unlucky. It was just happening across many, many YouTubers. And unfortunately, it came when I was starting off into this career path and doing it full time. I said to myself, hey, if they're gonna do it, hopefully one day it'll fix itself. I'm not going to let that deter me. I have an obligation. From all the comments I see from people of the videos on how the videos were changing their lives, on how they were helping them, I said, you know, it's not about, you know, this might be my start and I do need to, you know, make money. But what's more important, the reason why I did this from the start of a hobby, before going, I didn't want to lose those roots that I had. I said, I'm just going to keep making videos. I'm going to keep making everybody smile, demonetized or not. And eventually it started fixing itself. And I got very lucky. And so far, it's been pretty good.
What do you want to improve on?
What I want to improve on is my content and my ability to stream and entertain. I mean, I'm a pretty good entertainer, what everybody says. I create pretty good content, but you could always be better. It's always a skill, just with any job. This is not only, you know, it became a hobby, it's now my job. And with any job, you always want to be developing the skills to get better and better. I want to entertain people more. I want to understand the community more, and I want to understand the people who watch. I want to provide better content. I want to make them laugh more. I want to understand what they enjoy. These are all things that take time to build. You can't be a great entertainer without, you know, getting booed off the stage a few times to learn what people want, to get better at it. So that's about it.
How do you balance all the other aspects of your life?
Camera's on. How do I balance all the other aspects of my life? It's tough. If I could pick one thing I really need to start working on better, is time management. Time management, it was always great in my last jobs because I had, you know, you had Outlook, you had your meetings and scheduled, and now because things are so abrupt and there's so much going on and so many things pop up too, it's a little bit different, but I do need to work on that more. But how I manage everything, I have a schedule, and sometimes things exceed more than I would expect. Like sometimes the stream goes a little bit longer, and sometimes video editing, instead of taking 4 hours, it takes 7. And then that carries, and as it gets a little bit longer, it delays the next things going. So it's hard to catch up with anything, especially with the minimal hours in the day. So one thing I do have to work on is time management. It's a skill that now is more of a focus than what it used to be, because you know, when you have your meetings and stuff in the corporate world, everybody's there for a meeting, you know, you're doing this at this time, at this, and when things are so surprising in this content creator world, time management is definitely key. So it's one thing I definitely have to work on.
What do your friends and coworkers think about your channel?
What do my friends and coworkers think that is interesting? A lot of my friends, they watch pieces of it and they'll hop in and tune into a stream here or there. They still kind of don't get it, but they know I've been doing it for quite some time as a hobby. They are still kind of blown away that I'm able to do it full time. It's a little interesting, not only with them, but with anybody when it comes to, you know, what I do. People are more intrigued by it. They wonder, how could you, you know, make a living off of this? How are you able to pay your medical insurance? And, you know, what about your 401, you know, and all these different things go through people's head because you just think of YouTube and, you know, just you're making videos and you're putting them on there. You're streaming in front of people. How do you, so it's very different to them, but once I explain some of the factors, they sort of get it. They don't fully understand, but they've come to be accustomed to it. They think it's cool. They know that I'm very happy, and this is probably the happiest I've been in a long time, and that's really all that matters.
Who is the most influential person in your life?
The most influential person in my life would have to be God. I could, of course, say my family and my girlfriend, and they mean the world to me. I would do anything for them. My friends, this community. Those are all big pieces that have made me who I am. But if I had to pick one, it would be God, because he, even though, you know, I never push religion or politics ever. It's not my purpose. It's not my right. Everybody has their own beliefs on different things, their own opinions, and I believe everybody should, because I believe that that's what makes the world great. You know, we all have different viewpoints on things, but if I had to pick, I thank him every day that I'm allowed to do this. I thank him every day. I'm very blessed. I'm blessed that I'm healthy.
Does your family know about what you do?
Yes, my family knows about what I do, about my content creation. At first, they weren't really on board with it. Neither was my father. That was one of the big things. We got into a big, I guess, not a shouting match, but we had different views on things. And it wasn't until I showed him, I kind of gave him my whole marketing plan. I broke everything down. I said, I'm going to give myself 7 months. I might go for my master's now. I'm going to take time away from the corporate world. And I think I have to do this. And he was not on board, even with my whole plan that I gave him. And I really thought that out. And it wasn't until I started reading the comments that people were leaving me on my videos. And that's when I rarely see my dad get emotional. It's pretty rare, and I kind of saw a tear kind of drop from his eye when I was reading these comments on how these videos really helped so many people and what they were saying to me. It wasn't until then where he actually said, you know, can't turn your back on these people. I'm gonna have your back on this, I support you. And that was the turning point, because everybody else, they weren't fully on board, but they understood. And he was the final piece, and my dad means a lot, you know, especially his word. He's one of the smartest guys I know. So to have him support me was a big thing. It wasn't until reading everybody's comments on how it changed and how the videos really helped them that gave that boost. So now, especially after Business Insider and all these different things, and how happy I am and how well I'm doing and how many people I've touched through these videos and streaming, he's very proud now.